okay, if I'm an agency owner and I'm undercharging my clients, but I want to increase my rates to make more profit, what would you tell me to help me understand? Because it's probably my confidence, right? And I think, I could say this, if you're an agency owner, your pricing is probably wrong. But what would you tell me, Zach? Like, honestly. Welcome back, everybody. It's me, Ozzy, and
Zach.
together we've built multiple businesses, including Advertis, where we've helped over 300 marketing agencies scale smarter, grow faster, and escape the chaos that most agency owners get stuck in. In each episode, we're going to break down real conversations by agency owners. These conversations are around things like sales, operations, hiring, scaling, leadership, the wins, the failures, pricing, all of it. And today, you heard it. If you're a marketing agency owner, you're most likely pricing completely wrong. And we have proof. Trust me. Dak, you bring up a really good point before we hit the record button here. Oh, it's a common question we get asked quite a bit. If hey, how are you guys scaling your pricing? How can we confidently go to market at 100 to 200 to 300% markup? It's very common that our partners look at our pricing because we're a premium white label agency and they're like, I'm charging rates like this, direct. And we're like, you're undercharging market. And no wonder your close ratio is a 90%. Like your clients are saying, oh, wow, that's a deal. And so, a lot of the times when we partner with an agency, the very beginning of that partnership is us actually almost consulting them on increasing their pricing and their rates. So
Yes.
Zach, if I'm an agency owner that is looking to increase my rates, right? This is a common question we get asked. What are some of those nuanced things that stand out to you in how they can kind of go to market and so forth? What do you see the value propositions?
Yes. I think a lot of people, a lot of new agency owners, young agency owners, or solopreneurs, they kind of get stuck at under 7 figures. I mean, even sometimes under 5 figures, to be honest. Or they get stuck under 5 million, right? Annual revenue. They have a hard time thinking to themselves, how do I justify the value of charging X amount? Right. And that kind of comes from an operator's perspective rather than a sales perspective. You think to yourself, I need to know that the work that I'm doing is high value, high touch. We're doing all this good work and I want to feel good. I want to feel like I'm offering a lot of value. There's an issue with that. That's based on you. It's not based on the market. And you think you have a good touch, a good pulse on the market. But trust me, you have zero good pulse on the market if you are only quoting maybe like less than 100 deals a year, right?
Referrals? Just quoting referrals? Is that what you said?
Just quoting referrals, right? Right. And most agencies aren't even doing 100. Like they're lucky of doing like 5 deals per month, right? Like less than 50 a year. And then take it from us where we're quoting hundreds of deals a month.
A month.
Right?
Yeah.
A month, multiple hundreds a month. You are not pricing correctly, right? And you are tying it to, I like this analogy, you're tying your pricing to your wallet. And that's a terrible business model. What does that mean? That means that if you feel like $500 is a lot for you in your current life, right? Fine, no big deal, right? But there are businesses out there where $500 is not a lot, right? That's it. That's in their savings account in droves. That's what they spend in an hour, right? Where $500 is very little. So you thinking to yourself, well, if I charge somebody $500 per month for Google ads, management and services, that feels like a lot. It feels like I can get 10 of those, and then I have an agency that I'm doing $5,000 per month. And it's like, man, you are losing out on so much business, and you're probably working with the bottom of tier of clientele anyways, because it's so cheap.
I tell you what, my favorite is when they do it based on time. That's my favorite. They say,
When people
they go,
do time.
oh, it would take me 5 hours to set this Google ad campaign up. That's $500 because I'm going to charge $100 an hour. I did a cool business thing. And I'm going to tell you something. That is not accurate, guys.
Nope.
First off, just because it takes you 5 hours to do something does not mean that the talent that you're going to hire, the contractor, the freelancer,
the tech
internal
stack,
person, the
cost
stack,
of the
whatever it is,
lead, the sale.
it does not mean it's only going to take them 5 hours. And I can guarantee you just the account management function alone with that client is going to take more than 5 hours. And
Yep.
so like a lot of times, and I think this goes back to what you said. I like your quote where you said tied back to the wallet. I think it's very common, especially newer business owners, where they try to understand market themselves. But that's the thing, you don't have to. Like, you have people you can reach out to in the space. I mean, there's hundreds, I mean, I'm sorry, 100,000 plus marketing agency owners in the US alone. Part of when you start a business should be your market research. You should be reaching out to these people and trying to have a network to reach out to. Anyways, that's like a whole other conversation. But like, the pricing point, I'm sorry, the timing is where a lot of owners get stuck in. I'm going to price based on time investment, and they tie it back to their own investment of time. And that doesn't
And you
work. We
cap
tried that, by
yourself.
the way. Yeah.
We did. It did not work. It did not
A
work
lot of
because you
these
cap
guys,
yourself.
just so you know, a lot of these that we're going to talk about today are things that we tried also. So we empathize with you. We're not going to like, we've been there, trust me. But we're
Yes.
hoping,
Yes.
and Zach, I think you would agree, we're hoping that you don't have to go through these issues like we did. That's our hope.
Yes. These are learned experiences, right? That's why we feel so passionate and confident about them because, like, oh, I wish we did not do this, right? I wish we did a better way. And
Right.
so you only have 40 hours in a week. And then even if you're like working, double time, you have 80 hours in a week, that's not sustainable. And at some point you're going to be tapped out. So you need to find ways to really pull the levers in your own business so that you can take on more accounts and more clients without having to just spend more time on it. And the other benefit of charging more is by just simply getting new talent in the door. You're able to upgrade your business. You're able to upgrade the level of skill that your team has just by charging more, right? And then so many people here are going to be saying, well, if I charge more, you know, people can go to Fiverr and Upwork and they're charging $200 per month, right? And it's
Mm-mm.
like, sure, but I guarantee you a Fortune 500 company or even a Fortune 5,000 company is not going to go to Upwork or to Fiverr, right? They're going to go to an agency like what you have, and they're going to want to work with you. And if they hear that you're charging $500 per month or $200 per month, they're going to think, oh, these guys are small potatoes. These
They don't know.
guys,
Yeah.
they don't know what they're doing. They haven't been in the game long enough because I know that if I want to hire a good person, like a really good Google Ads specialist, I'm like paying somebody six figures, right? For like a high end Google ad specialist, somebody who's been in the around and is like 50 plus years old and it's been there since Google
Well,
began with its ads.
well, why would you pay someone so much money? Like, honestly, if you're a client, why would you? I'm asking our audience this, by the way. Why would you pay someone $100,000 a year for only one reason? Because they're making you 10x that.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
reality. Now, if you are, I will call you guys out. If you are someone who knows nothing about marketing, who knows nothing about doing ads, building a return on ad spend, return on investment, then you should probably keep your services at a low price point.
Yes.
unless you are really good at building a team and building a business and doing those things. I will tell you guys firsthand, I'm not even going to pretend that I knew anything about, I knew a little bit about marketing coming into this, but I'm a business guy. I've always been a business guy in sales, in building the actual structure of the business, leveraging, as far as actual market, things like that. Zach is our marketing guy. He's always been the marketing guy. And I'm going to call myself out on that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Entrepreneurs, that's what entrepreneurs do. But if you are a freelancer and you're just getting started and you're like, I'm going to start an agency, you're not an actual agency. And that's a really important differentiator because,
Yes.
you start comparing yourself to that market, it's going to hurt a lot in the very beginning.
Yes, this is why so many people get frustrated because they talk to different agencies and it's wildly different. The results that
Mhm.
they get, the kind of team sizes that they have. It's like, yeah, because a lot of people can call themselves an agency, but we're specifically talking to you people who, you have headcount, even if it's maybe not full time, but you have headcount. And there are people whose paychecks rely on you and your business to bring things in. And um, you need to charge more. And if your mentality is, well, then, instead of closing 90% of my accounts, I'm only going to close half of those. It's like, good. Because if you instead of charging $500 a month and you charge $1,500 a month, you're tripling how much you charge. So it means for every one account you're getting now, That's the same value as 3 accounts every single month when you just increase your rates. And
Actually, you
that's
bring up a
why,
really good. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead. That's why. What?
Oh, and that's why, uh, whenever we go to market, whenever we're sharing with our agency partners how much we think they should charge, we tell them you need to charge a minimum of 1,600 per month. If you're not charging a minimum of $1,600 per month, you are under market, you are undervalued, you are most likely under resourced. And I have some agency owners saying, well, 1,600 a month, that's so high ticket. It is not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's not. It's high ticket for you because you're thinking about your wallet size, right? But
Yeah,
if you're thinking about someone else's wallet, that's a lot more. That's small potatoes. It is not huge. It is not a lot of money. In fact, it's a well worth investment. And then people start to get in their heads of like, well, if they're going to pay me this much per month, then why can't they just hire in-house teammates? Like, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There are agencies out there that we know of that are charging $1 million a month,
hmm
$1 million a month. And they're not for Coca-Cola, right? They're for companies there that you don't even like home service based nationwide companies, right? Or even regional size companies that are doing like $50 million a year. They're
hmm
charging $1 million per month. Why?
They know.
Because they know that they want that level of talent because they'll pay an agency $12 million a year for $50 million in top line revenue. That's a deal.
Yep, exactly. And you know what? It goes back to that age old question as a business owner. If you're looking to hire somebody into your company and that person, if I sat across the table from you, Zach, and I said, and you're interviewing me, and I said, look, Zach, I will make you $10 million next year. I know you're at 2 million right now, but if you hire me for $200,000 a year, I'll make you $10 million next year. And I prove it with my numbers and my experience and my whatever I have, right? To prove that, right? I got to present something, which we'll get into that here in just a second. Then why wouldn't you do that? If you
Yeah,
know at the end of
deal.
the day, it's a sales problem, to be honest with you. And that's kind of what I wanted to get
Hmm.
into. If you're a business owner and you don't know how to do sales, that's a problem because sales is the very foundation of any business. You have to have
Yes.
sales, that business hierarchy pyramid. I actually seen it. It was Dan Martell in the Buy Back Your Time book. He actually laid that out. And it's funny because when you're in a sales role, oftentimes it's very much met with marketing, right? You have to have both and you have to be able to leverage both sales and marketing. But what I found is a lot of our and I won't even just say partners, I say marketing agencies in general, they all have a problem with sales. They either don't know how to approach by building a sales team, they don't know how to sell themselves. And so that's where a lot of that confidence is kind of stricken a little bit. And
Yep.
so that's why a lot of our partners like to partner with us because we don't have that problem. That is actually something that we realized really early on in the business when we started partnering with agencies is that they needed help in sales. They needed help in building that confidence, which arguably is any reseller partnership. And so, what we like to do, and I think these are some really good tips that I'm going to kind of lay out here on how you can increase your rates, right? Is you need to be able to provide proof of value, proof of concept. So, some of the best agencies I see out there, they have obviously really great case studies. They have really great references, et cetera. But that's because they had so many at bats to be able to build that, right? And so sometimes agencies starting out or even like a few years in, they don't have that many at bats. So leaning in on a vendor like a white label partner is amazing for that kind of stuff because
Hmm.
you now have a team of people who have that many at bats. You have a
Yep.
team of people who can support you in that sales function, right? So that's kind of what we do in Advertis when we partner with an agency. And so, which gives our partners the confidence to go to market at those and raise those rates, right? And so when we show up to a sales call, we're not just saying it's going to cost this much. We're showing them how much money we're going to try to make them with real data, real analytics, real backed data. We're showing them that foundation and we're saying, look,
Yep.
do you want this or not? Because what you told me
Yep.
your goal was is this, and we're going to get you there by doing this. This is our fee for that, but we're gonna make you a lot more money than that. And that's marketing, guys. Like you own a marketing agency, that's your whole job is to make them more money
Yep.
than they pay you.
Yep. 100%. Correct, correct. Really simple example. The average roof say costs $20,000. And if you're running Facebook ads for a roofing company, and let's say the cost per lead is like $300, right? And then it takes 10 of those leads to close a deal. Well, 10 times 300 is 3K. 3K minus 3K is $17,000. That's still pretty dang profitable to me. Sounds pretty good to me. I think that's a really good deal. And I think you could charge a little bit more. I think you charge a little bit more than even 2K per month. That would be $5,000 total every single month off of that $20,000 deal. So someone's paying you 5K per month to give them 20K per month. Wow. That sounds like your job. That sounds like it being a marketing agency owner. And I think we forget that and we get so in the weeds of, I want to be creative. I want to be operationally different. I want to be unique and I want to have all this stuff laid out and I want to have a system and I want to program. And it's like, you got to sell it first and you got to sell it from the business owner's mentality and you got to charge more. When you charge more, you make more money. When you make more money, you hire a better team. When you hire a better team, you're able to charge even more. And then it goes around and around and around and around in a circle until you are a well-established marketing agency making 5 to 10 million to 20 million to $50 million a year because you've doubled down on your investment for scale. Advertis as a white label agency comes in the door where you don't have to hire a full-time person or wait for that. Most agencies say, well, I'm not going to hire a Google Ads person until I have like 40 Google Ad accounts. Whoa, you don't need that. Like you could just hire Advertis, right? And we'll handle your 10 Google Ad accounts. You can scale with us. You can scale with us even more to 40 Google Ad accounts, to 100 Google Ad accounts. Same thing with SEO, same thing with Facebook ads, same thing with web dev, right? Like that is why our business model, the white label business model is so effective, is because it can scale with you regardless of where you're at in your journey, right? As long as you're charging enough on a per account basis, we can charge on a per account basis. You're profitable. We get a new account. Everyone wins.
Yep. It scales up and it scales down, just so you guys know. And that's the thing. It's like, at the end of the day, when you're pricing your services, honestly, the best thing you can do, is really just have enough at bats. I still stand by this in any business, not even just a marketing agency. You can't confidently go to market and say this pricing is perfect until you've quoted thousands, right? I think you've heard no too many times. That's something that I think a lot of people are uncomfortable with, is
Yeah.
especially in our industry, because one, a lot of these agencies are only getting leads from referrals. So they're scared
Mm.
if they overprice this, they're going to lose that opportunity. That may be the only opportunity they have for the next month. They're scared of that. That's fair. I get it. I'd be scared of that too. But how do you prevent that from happening? That's the goal, right? If you're a business owner,
Yes.
your whole job is identifying problems and creating solutions to those problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the problem is not your pricing. It's, I need to get more quotes in the door. How do I get more quotes in the door? And so it's really identifying, where do you need to start as a business and how do you scale that, right? And so then you can have the problem of pricing and you can have the problem of hiring and then you can have the problem of et cetera. And so it just starts with identifying those problems. But ultimately, guys, like our hope and our dream for every agency out there is to be able to see their value and actually know how to measure that. And so part of what we try to do in Advertis is to showcase that for our partners. I actually was having a conversation from someone from the channel here recently. I think it was like Facebook or something. And she was expressing to me that she struggles to price her client accounts. She struggles to do this. She's scared she's going to lose the business. She hasn't really hired talent. She just kind of takes it all on herself. And she's been doing it for 20 something years, but she's tired, bro. She's tired. I'd be tired too. And it's a lot of work to do that. I mean, you've been there, Zach. I know you have. I remember that. And like being able to manage all these clients by yourself. We've seen other agency owners do that. We had one of our closest partners who was doing that for like 50 or 60 clients. It was insane. You remember him? And
Yep.
God bless him. I love him. But ultimately, he learned that that was not sustainable. And
Correct.
and I think she's going through that right now. And so we were kind of
Yeah.
talking about that, and she said that she really just needed more confidence, and that's it. And I think that's a big problem that a lot of people see in business. And honestly, I'm going to call it as it is. It's imposter syndrome. It's a lot of that too. And
Yeah.
I've suffered from that. I'm sure you've suffered from that, Zach. You're not alone. You guys are not on a lonely island. Like, we're all here together. But ultimately, look, if you're an agency and you are struggling to find a way to price your services, or maybe you're even adding a new service line in and you're like, what should I price this at? Feel free to reach out to us in Advertis. Zach and I have open, calendars. Our team has open calendars. We are happy to even just consult you on what that could look like for your agency, even if we're not partners, like just as a fellow agency owner, just to really help you guys. Because at the end of the day, why we do this, Zach and I, is to help you as an agency owner. And I think that because of we've had this experience and building the agency ourselves, but then also, helping all these other agencies, over almost 400 agencies now, it has helped us see these problems and really identify them. And that's why we started this channel. That's why we built the business the way we have. And so that's what we're here to do. So, by the way, thank you all so much for subscribing to the channel, and feel free to join us next week. And I think we might even get into some things about hiring and firing even. I think that's a really good one to talk about. But if you have any content suggestions, please drop it in a comment below. We'll be happy to talk through those things. So see you next week.